welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something super interesting, 10x government.
10x government.
Yeah, so what is that?
10x government.
Is it like everything's 10 times better?
Well, not necessarily. It's about those big leaps forward, the ones that really change things.
Okay, so like what kind of changes are we talking about here?
I'm talking about like slashing homelessness rates,
Oh,
getting grant applications approved in like a day instead of weeks,
that would be amazing.
or greenlighting wind farms in days instead of months or even years.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that gets stuck in bureaucracy forever.
Exactly. And what's amazing is that there are governments all over the world actually doing this.
Really? So where did you find all this information?
We've got a report here that's packed with real-world examples.
A report.
Yeah, a report.
Okay, so what's our mission today? Are we going to go through the whole report?
Our mission is to dig into the most compelling cases
Okay.
and figure out the secrets behind their success.
Okay, I'm ready for some secrets. Spill the beans.
You're not going to believe some of these achievements. Like, did you know
What?
that in Estonia, parents can file their taxes in just 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. It's incredible.
That's insane. I spend hours on my taxes.
It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Seriously.
What we're seeing is a global trend of governments achieving radical improvements.
So how are they doing it? Is there some magic formula?
Well, it's not magic, but there are 4 key factors driving this transformation.
Okay, I'm listening. Hit me with the factors.
First is the clever use of technology.
Okay, tech makes sense.
Second is borrowing innovative approaches from the business world.
Oh, so they're learning from the best.
Exactly. Then there's a focus on human-centered design.
That's important, making sure it actually works for people.
Absolutely. And finally, and this is crucial, collaboration across different sectors.
So it's not just governments working in isolation.
It's about bringing together the best minds from government, industry, academia, and even the public.
So a real team effort. Okay, so it's not just about governments getting shiny new tech toys.
It's about using these 4 forces strategically to make a real impact.
You make a real impact. Okay, I like it. But before we go any further, I need a real-world example.
Okay, how about Houston, Texas?
Houston.
Since 2011, they've reduced homelessness by a staggering 64%.
64%. That's amazing. How did they do that?
It's fascinating. They didn't just focus on providing shelter.
Okay.
They took a data-driven approach,
Data-driven.
analyzing the root causes of homelessness.
So like figuring out why people were homeless in the first place.
Exactly. And then they created a system to connect individuals with the specific services they needed.
So a personalized approach.
Yeah. And they didn't do it alone.
Who else was involved?
They partnered with nonprofits, businesses, community organizations.
A real community effort.
A true collaboration.
It's amazing what can happen when people from different worlds come together with a shared goal.
You said it.
Collaboration, that seems to be a key theme here.
It really is.
Speaking of collaboration, let's talk about India
India.
and their digital ID system, Aadhaar.
Aadhaar, this initiative has been a game changer for financial inclusion.
How so?
It's brought a remarkable 80% of India's population into the formal banking system.
80%, that's a huge number.
And get this, it happened decades faster than anyone anticipated.
Decades, we're talking like a generation ahead of schedule.
Exactly.
How would they pull that off?
It all comes down to creating a secure and reliable digital identity for every citizen.
So like a digital passport.
It's more than that. It's a digital foundation that enables access to all sorts of services.
So banking, healthcare, education.
A whole 9 yards.
Wow. Without Aadhaar, they estimated it would take 47 years to reach that level of financial inclusion.
47 years.
With Aadhaar, it took just 6.
6 years. That's the power of combining digital transformation with a focus on human needs.
That's incredible. It really is transformative.
It is.
And it makes me wonder what other areas could benefit from this kind of thinking.
The possibilities are endless.
We've seen how technology can revolutionize access to services, but what about making those services faster and more efficient?
That's where the once-only principle comes in.
Once only principle.
It's a simple but powerful idea that's gaining traction in Europe.
Okay, tell me more.
It means that citizens and businesses should only have to provide the same information to the government once.
Wait, so no more filling out the same forms over and over again?
Exactly.
That sounds like a dream come true.
It's not just about reducing paperwork either.
Okay.
The once-only principle is estimated to be saving European citizens a whopping 855,000 hours annually.
That's a lot of time.
And businesses are saving an incredible 11 billion.
So less hassle for citizens, lower costs for businesses, and a more efficient government.
It's a win-win-win.
Everyone wins. I love it. But do you have any specific examples of how this is actually working?
Absolutely. Austria has implemented a data platform for healthcare information,
Okay.
so patients don't have to repeat their medical history every time they see a new doctor.
Excellent.
And remember, Estonia's 5-minute tax filing system.
Yeah.
That's also thanks to the once-only principle.
So from simplifying taxes to streamlining healthcare, the impact is pretty impressive.
It really is.
It seems like the age-old stereotype of government being slow and bureaucratic is finally starting to crumble.
You're right, governments around the world are challenging that assumption head-on.
So how are they achieving this government at warp speed?
Well, technology plays a role,
Of course.
but it's not the whole story. It's also about process reengineering,
Okay.
strategic partnerships, and a shift in mindset.
A shift in mindset. Interesting. Can you give me an example?
Sure, Canada's effort to reduce wait times for mental health counseling is a great example.
I've heard those wait times used to be really long.
One person even described it as waiting for a backhoe when all you need is a shovel.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a long wait.
But they've made significant improvements by streamlining processes and adopting new approaches.
So they recognize the urgency of the situation.
Exactly when it comes to mental health support. Time is of the essence.
Absolutely. Are there any other examples of government agencies operating at warp speed?
The U.S. National Institutes of Health, they now process grant applications in less than a day.
A day? That's incredible. How is that even possible?
We're using AI-powered review systems.
AI lending a helping hand.
It's a game changer for researchers who rely on those grants.
Yeah, it really shows how technology can streamline even the most complex processes. What other examples come to mind?
Estonia's revamped family benefit system now takes just 30 seconds to process.
30 seconds down from what?
2 hours.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
And in Denmark, they've streamlined the pruning process for wind farms to just over 10 days.
10 days? That's amazing.
That same process can take months or even years in other European countries.
It's mind-boggling how much faster things can move when you eliminate unnecessary bureaucracy.
It really is.
These speed improvements are impressive, but it's not just about doing things faster, it's also about doing things differently. And that's where the concept of innovation ecosystems comes in. Can governments really be innovative, or are they always playing catch-up to the private sector?
That's a great question, and the answer is a resounding yes.
Really?
Governments are increasingly realizing that they can't solve complex challenges alone.
They need help.
Exactly. And that's why they're embracing the concept of innovation ecosystems.
Innovation ecosystems, what are those?
Imagine a tech startup ecosystem, but instead of focusing on profits,
Okay.
it's about bringing together diverse players to solve big societal challenges.
So governments, businesses, universities, even citizens all working together.
Exactly. A melting pot of ideas and expertise.
So like a massive brainstorming session with everyone bringing their unique skills and perspectives to the table.
Precisely. And governments are playing a key role in cultivating these ecosystems.
How so?
They're aligning stakeholder incentives, creating favorable regulatory environments, and facilitating knowledge sharing.
So they're setting the stage for innovation to flourish.
Exactly.
I'm curious, do you have any examples of these innovation ecosystems in action?
A prime example is the ACTIV initiative.
ACTIV.
It was a partnership launched during the pandemic to accelerate the development of COVID-19 treatments and vaccines.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It brought together government agencies, pharmaceutical companies, researchers, philanthropic organizations.
All hands on deck.
Exactly. Everyone working together to achieve a common goal.
And they did it. Those vaccines were developed at an unprecedented pace.
It's a testament to the power of collaboration.
Absolutely. What other examples come to mind?
Denmark has established climate partnerships that engage industry, academia, and civil society to co-create solutions for climate change mitigation.
So tackling a global challenge with a collaborative approach.
Precisely. And then there's NASA's Commercial Crew Program and their Destinations Program.
NASA.
They're fostering a vibrant commercial space industry.
Wow, so the government is actually supporting private space exploration.
They're setting clear requirements, providing funding, and offering support.
Basically paving the way for private companies to reach for the stars.
Exactly. It's inspiring to see how public-private partnerships can lead to breakthroughs that benefit both government and society as a whole.
I agree, it's a win-win for everyone involved, but now I'm thinking about another crucial aspect of government performance: productivity.
Ah, yes. Productivity, the holy grail of any organization.
Especially in government.
There have been many initiatives over the years aimed at making government more efficient.
Reinventing government, new public management, all that jazz.
But now there's a new secret weapon:
What is it?
Artificial intelligence.
AI. So we've gone from typewriters to computers to AI. It's like the natural progression.
Digital transformation has laid the groundwork, and now AI is emerging as the next frontier in government productivity.
So AI is stepping in to help governments work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
But how is AI actually being used to boost productivity in government? Give me the specifics.
It's being used in a wide range of applications, from detecting fraud and reducing costs to optimizing resources and streamlining processes.
Okay, that makes sense.
AI tools are empowering government workers by automating those tedious routine tasks that eat up so much time.
So they can focus on more important things.
Exactly. It's about creating a more effective human-machine collaboration.
So it's not about replacing humans with robots.
It's about leveraging the strengths of both humans and machines to achieve better outcomes.
That makes sense. Do you have any concrete examples of how this is playing out in practice?
In Trelleborg, Sweden, they digitized their social benefits program using robotic process automation.
Okay, what was the outcome?
It led to a significant reduction in processing times and allowed staff to focus on providing better support to citizens.
That's fantastic. It's amazing to think about the potential for AI to make government more efficient and effective.
Ultimately leading to better services and a better experience for everyone.
And it's already happening in agencies across the globe.
For example, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research has achieved a remarkable 93% reduction in application processing time.
93%, that's mind-blowing.
And they've eliminated an estimated 5,200 hours of manual labor, all thanks to robotic process automation.
That's incredible. What other examples come to mind?
The U.S. Internal Revenue Service, they've implemented automated scanning technology that allowed them to scan 80 times more tax returns in the first 3 months of 2023 and in the whole of 2022.
80 times, that's a massive increase in efficiency.
And in Singapore, the Government Technology Agency has developed a generative AI chatbot to assist civil servants with tasks like writing research and even coding.
A chatbot that can code, that's impressive.
It's remarkable to see how far we've come in such a short time.
Who knows what the future holds for AI in government? The possibilities seem endless.
The future is bright.
But while we're on the topic of the future, it's important to consider the role of government in creating a more equitable society.
You're absolutely right. Equity and inclusion are core government values.
But it's easy to think about equity in abstract terms.
Sure.
It's important to remember that we're talking about real people's lives, and for many, these disparities have a very real impact on their day-to-day experiences.
That's why it's so important for governments to take concrete steps to address these issues.
So what are some of those concrete steps?
The U.S. federal government has developed equity action plans that are specifically designed to overcome discrimination faced by underserved communities.
It's encouraging to see that kind of proactive approach.
And New Zealand's Accessibility for New Zealanders Act of 2022 aims to remove accessibility barriers for people with disabilities.
That's fantastic, creating a more inclusive society for everyone.
Absolutely.
Are there any other examples that come to mind?
Yes, several. In Michigan, they've implemented an automated system for expunging criminal records.
Okay.
It makes it easier for individuals with past convictions to have a fair chance at reintegration.
That's a great initiative.
The U.S. government is also actively pushing to increase contract spending on small, disadvantaged businesses.
Creating more economic opportunities for those who have historically been excluded.
Precisely.
And one more inspiring example is Social Security Scotland. They're actively working to hire people with disabilities as client advisors.
They recognize the value of bringing in people with lived experiences to improve service design and delivery.
That's brilliant. It's so important to have representation from diverse communities within government.
To ensure that policies and programs are truly responsive to the needs of all citizens.
Absolutely. It sounds like there's a lot of progress being made on this front.
There is.
It's not just about one-size-fits-all solutions. It's about finding tailored approaches that meet the specific needs of different communities.
And it's about recognizing that achieving equity is an ongoing journey.
It requires continuous effort, adaptation, and a willingness to listen to and learn from the communities we serve.
You said it.
It's not about checking boxes. It's about creating a culture of inclusion that permeates every aspect of government. But speaking of checking boxes, are there any specific criteria that define a 10x government improvement? Is it always about a tenfold increase?
That's a great question, and the answer is no. It's not always about a literal tenfold increase.
Okay.
It's more about achieving a dramatic, game-changing leap forward.
So setting ambitious goals and finding innovative ways to achieve them.
Exactly, challenging the status quo and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the public sector.
So it's not about getting caught up in the numbers.
It's about the magnitude of the impact.
It's about those breakthroughs that make you say, wow, I can't believe they pulled that off.
Exactly. It's about those moments when government surprises us with its ability to innovate, adapt, and deliver results that truly make a difference in people's lives.
And sometimes those results are about more than just numbers.
You're right.
They're about creating a more just equitable and inclusive society for everyone.
The impact of 10x government goes far beyond efficiency and productivity.
It's about creating a better future for all. And speaking of a better future, let's take a closer look at some of the technologies that are driving these remarkable achievements.
From AI to blockchain to the Internet of Things, the possibilities seem endless.
Okay, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
We were just talking about AI and how it can really boost productivity in government. And, when I think about AI, I kind of still picture robots taking over the world.
I know you mean.
But it seems like it's being used in some pretty practical ways to make things run smoother in government.
Yeah, you're right. AI is not really about replacing us. It's more about giving us a helping hand, amplifying what we can already do.
Like a superpower boost.
Exactly. And one example of that is the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. They've used this thing called robotic process automation.
Robotic process automation.
And they've seen a 93% reduction in the time it takes to process applications.
93%.
They've also eliminated something like 5,200 hours of manual labor.
That's incredible. I bet the people who used to do all that tedious work are pretty happy.
I would think so. It frees them up to focus on more critical stuff.
Makes sense. It's about working smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly. And another good example is the U.S. Internal Revenue Service.
The IRS.
They've implemented automated scanning technology for tax returns.
Oh, wow. So no more humans squinting at tiny numbers.
Well, they still need humans, but this new tech has allowed them to scan 80 times more tax returns in the first 3 months of 2023 than in all of 2022.
80 times? That's a massive improvement. I bet that made tax season a lot less painful for everyone.
I'm sure it did. And then there's Singapore. Their government technology agency developed a generative AI chatbot.
A chatbot.
It helps civil servants with things like writing research, even coding.
A chatbot that can code. That's pretty wild.
It's like having a digital assistant who takes care of all those time-consuming tasks so you can focus on the bigger picture.
That's the dream right there. It's amazing to think about how much AI could change government in the future.
The possibilities are truly exciting.
But as cool as technology is, we can't forget about the human side of things. At the end of the day, it's all about people.
Couldn't agree more.
Government is about serving people
Yeah.
and making sure everyone has a fair shot.
Absolutely. Equity and inclusion are fundamental to a well-functioning society.
And governments have a big responsibility to make that happen.
Right. They need to address historical disparities, improve access to resources, and create policies that promote a fairer future for everyone.
It's easy to get lost in all the data and stats, but it's stories like Houston's that really hit home.
Houston.
The way they use data and collaboration to tackle homelessness, it's really inspiring.
It's a powerful reminder that behind all the numbers, there are real people whose lives are being changed.
And that's what it's all about. Speaking of real people,
Yeah.
one area where governments are making progress is removing barriers for people with disabilities.
That's a really important point.
So what are some of the things they're doing?
New Zealand, for instance, they passed the Accessibility for New Zealanders Act in 2022.
Accessibility for New Zealanders Act.
It aims to create a more inclusive society by getting rid of obstacles that people with disabilities face.
It's so important for everyone to be able to fully participate in society.
Absolutely. And in the United States, the federal government has developed equity action plans.
Equity action plan.
They're designed to address discrimination against underserved communities.
So they cover things like housing, healthcare, education, employment.
It's a broad approach aimed at tackling systemic issues.
It's good to see governments taking concrete steps like that, but real change also needs a shift in mindset and culture.
I completely agree, and there's a really inspiring example of this happening in Scotland.
Scotland.
Social Security Scotland is making a conscious effort to hire people with disabilities as client advisors.
Oh, wow. That's great.
They understand that people with lived experiences can offer incredibly valuable insights.
And it makes the services more relevant and accessible to everyone.
Exactly. It's about designing services with everyone in mind.
It's so crucial to have diverse voices represented within government.
So that policies and programs truly reflect the needs of all citizens.
And there are other examples of this kind of thinking in action, right?
Absolutely. In Michigan, for instance, they've set up an automated system for expunging criminal records.
Expunging criminal records.
This makes it easier for people with past convictions to reintegrate into society.
So they're not held back by their past mistakes.
Exactly. It gives them a fair chance to move forward.
And it helps to reduce recidivism.
Right.
What other examples are out there?
The U.S. government is also working to increase contract spending on small disadvantaged businesses.
So giving them more opportunities to compete and grow.
It's about fostering economic empowerment in communities that have been historically overlooked.
It sounds like governments are taking a multifaceted approach to equity and inclusion.
They are. It's not about finding a one-size-fits-all solution
It's about tailoring approaches to specific needs.
and recognizing that achieving equity is a continuous process.
It takes ongoing effort adaptation and a willingness to listen and learn.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's not about checking boxes. It's about creating a culture of inclusion that touches every part of government.
It's about making sure everyone feels seen and heard.
Exactly. But speaking of checking boxes, are there specific things that make something a 10x government improvement? Is it always a tenfold increase?
That's a good question, and the answer is not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
It's not always about a literal tenfold increase. It's more about making a dramatic, game-changing leap.
So like setting really ambitious goals and finding creative ways to reach them.
Exactly. It's about challenging the way things have always been done and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
So it's not about getting fixated on the numbers, it's about the impact.
The magnitude of the change.
It's about those moments when government does something so innovative and effective that you just have to say, wow, I can't believe they did that.
Exactly. It's about those times when government surprises us with its ability to adapt and deliver real results that make a difference in people's lives.
And sometimes those results are about more than just numbers. It's about building a fairer, more equitable, more inclusive society for everyone.
It's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
And speaking of thriving, let's dive into some of the specific technologies that are powering these incredible achievements.
From AI to blockchain to the Internet of Things, there's so much to explore.
Let's do it. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From Houston's success in reducing homelessness to Estonia, making filing taxes a 5-minute breeze.
It's really amazing to see what governments are accomplishing around the world.
It's inspiring, right? We've seen how technology and commitment to equity are completely reshaping the public sector.
It's not just about doing things better, it's about doing things differently.
And the best part is this is just the beginning.
I think so too. As these trends keep gaining momentum, I can only imagine what we'll see in the next few years.
The potential for 10x government is huge.
It really is. The examples we talked about today are just a glimpse of what's possible when governments really embrace innovation.
It's a reminder that government can be a powerful force for positive change.
Absolutely. A catalyst for progress and a champion for a more equitable world.
And it's not just about governments taking the lead.
It's a team effort, right?
It's about all of us, citizens, businesses, nonprofits, communities, working together to build a better future.
Couldn't agree more.
10x government isn't just a concept, it's a call to action.
A challenge to think bigger, be bolder, and get more creative about how we solve problems.
So as you go about your day, I want you to think about the principles we've talked about today.
How could you apply them to the issues you care about?
What problems could you solve? What processes could you streamline? What innovations could you bring to life?
The possibilities are endless.
And we can't wait to see what you, our listeners, will achieve.
To a better future.
Thanks for joining us on this journey exploring 10x government. We hope you're feeling inspired and ready to make a difference.
We'll see you next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.